Becca and I worked for RSSL, which is literally there. It's an own company in its right, and it's also owned by Cadbury's, which is now Kraft. So it was quite interesting me being there during their changeover period and seeing it all implement down into the company. My job description was project technician, and it was mainly in new product development, so looking at completely new ideas and trying to make them into a product and then proposing the product to the people further up in the company. So it was basic day-to-day lab work. I also worked in their sensory department, so that was looking if they moved their factory somewhere, they'd bring in the new version of product and the old version, and then having different people come in that were specially trained to look at different things, so people that are super chocolate tasters who would be able to tell if the product that was made in Poland was completely different to the product made in England. I also did raw ingredients, analysing it, so cocoa beans was one of my big projects. So every time they got, they changed their suppliers quite regularly. Every time a new supplier came in, we had a sample, and every time they bought a new set of samples, there'd be another sample. So at one point we were working from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening, testing cocoa beans and like smelling them, tasting the liquor, which wasn't pleasant, but it has to be done. One of the things they described it was baby sick. There's also a lot of liaison between customers and suppliers. So because they did external work as well, they'd have Joe Normal would appear and be like, I've had this amazing idea and I want to make it into something, and then someone would write up the proposal. So I was looking at proposals, seeing whether we thought mic and time constraints would fit in to work around things, because there's a lot of projects going on at once means that you do gain lots of skills in being able to be like, right, today my priority is this, and then later I will do this, and then I need to ring this person and tell them that I can't do this until tomorrow because of this reason. And then you have to ring up suppliers, and sometimes they obviously know who you are, so they know you're Cadbury's or Kraft, and they'll come in and be like, oh, we want to give a presentation just so that you know that we're doing this new thing, it's all dancing or singing, so you use it in your product. So every Bassett's Jelly Baby has this hydrocolloid in it. So it was quite interesting having all these people come in and a bit like university lectures all over again, being like, this hydrocolloid comes from seeds and blah blah. It's also really good being able to put what you learn into the lectures into real life. So we had a problem when they were looking at something that was meant to be gluten-free, and the whole office couldn't understand why our results were coming back saying they've got gluten in, even though it was a product that was meant to be gluten-free, and piped up, oh, actually it's allowed to have a certain amount of gluten, and they were like, oh. So it's quite interesting to be able to use your knowledge. I found one of the drawbacks is working with people who you wouldn't necessarily spend time with normally. Some people can be quite difficult, and especially as a student you have to be able to establish yourself as people might look at you and be like, oh, you're young, you don't really know anything. I worked with someone who was like that, and it was quite challenging having to be like, no, this is my job, blah, blah, I do know what I'm talking about, and you have to respect what I'm saying. And my biggest learning curve was because the confidence to be able to say, yes, I do know what I'm doing, and making decisions without having to constantly, like, obviously you can't badger your manager all the time, being like, oh, what do you think about this, what do you think about that? I had the confidence to make decisions. And my advice would be that you have to have a passion for food, because everyone you work with has a passion for food, and that generally is all they talk about and all that you talk about, and like ideas generation and things like that. You have to know what you're like talking about. You have to be like, oh no, I definitely wouldn't want to eat that product, because everyone's got an opinion on food and get drowned.